Okay, guys, let's go ahead and get started with the live stream. Like always, none of this is financial advice. You always got to do what's best for you. Just use this as for your education, entertainment purposes only. And as people join, I'll kind of give a market overview. And so, despite what the headline indices show on the close, the market actually did make the turn. It's just been pretty choppy, as you can see. We are making our way to lower lows. A lower low. This is a lower low. So this market should be turning down next week. Even though we could still be in this 1-2-1-2 setup on the downside, but I do expect us to hopefully open up more to the downside next week. And your guess is as good as mine on how far down we go. But as you can see, we did turn down in the Dow Jones really back on the 31st on Thursday. The SPY did try to make this rally. Everyone's like obsessed with this gap, and they're like, oh, it'll just fill the gap, and I have a feeling that won't happen, and then that gap will fill a lot later. And so I do think we have this push down, especially with Tesla showing a massive move down now to complete. I don't think this is going to be taken back out. Now, if it were to come back, like I've said, and take this high out, then it could become a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, unless the divergence is erased somehow. And I would just say that I don't expect it to come back and take this high out. And the same thing with the technology. It tried to generate a short squeeze on Friday and failed. And now we're coming out in this 1, 2. And again, 2 could still come back up, but it looks like that did fill the gap that everyone was obsessing about. So right now, the market should be turning lower, and I would expect September could be a pretty, how can I say, a tragic month in the market. It could become a tragedy if the bearish conditions that are here play out. We have the conditions set up for potentially a spectacular crash. The conditions are there for it, but you just need the spark now to light to ignite the bomb. If there's no spark, the conditions will probably ease, and then the bears will lose their opportunity once again, and they'll lose their setup. So I think the window of opportunity, if you're a bear, is this month, and if you don't take advantage of it, that window will close, and I believe then you'll start to rally to new highs again. So I do think that's kind of the setup. So September could be very treacherous, depending on what kind of news event they want to float out there. And there must be some really bad piece of news about to hit the markets that the markets just are pretty much ignoring, at least our markets. And then the IWM should be also peaked here. So the market is turning down. Now Bitcoin has been really getting beat up. It's always been a leading indicator of the market and where we're going. And again, here is our short area. And now it looks like we have 5 waves and a 1-2 pattern of some kind that should fail for even lower prices. I don't see any substantial bounce until you get to these areas that I have shaded, 20,100 to 18,800. So that gives you a sign of where the market is heading overall. Because if Bitcoin's going down here, then the rest of the market should follow suit. And then, of course, oil was the talk yesterday, which was the real story hidden by the jobs report. And I said, be careful taking out the RSI. We did that. So now it's a 1-2, 1-2, and we're coming out. This also shows why you can't short wave 5, because a lot of Elliott wave people would have gone, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'll just short this 5. And as you can see, divergences get erased. And this is now, I think we've opened up to targets, and I would expect to see $96 to $100 in oil now. So with those targets opened up, I bet that's probably going to hit the stock market really hard. And that also tells me interest rates are probably going up. So I do think the energy trade has more room to go to the upside. So that will be a change in forecast. And then also the interest rates as well. And I think we're already starting to see that turn in the long-term rate. I said be careful with this extended fifth. We may not get this flush down. And I do believe we are going to get something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we'll peak and come down. And then the 2-year, I mentioned watching out for this drop, and we got it in this kind of running flat, and now we should be ready for its 3 of 3 breakout. So perhaps, I don't know when the CPI report comes out for September, and maybe again it's going to be a lot higher than people imagine and contemplate. I don't know, but this market is setting up for higher rates, higher oil, and a higher dollar. And that is very bearish for the stock market. And the dollar had a massive reversal on Friday. It tried to dump right here, and I mentioned this having this happen in this 5-wave move, 3-wave decline, and essentially vertical. So this is, someone was really panicking into cash yesterday on Friday. Somebody, there's no way you can move the currency market like this. Somebody was leaving bonds, leaving stocks, and they were dumping. Even though the headline indices were green, somebody wanted into cash bad. So bad that this currency market, that type of move is unreal in one day. And I believe it's only getting started, and we should see these higher levels, and then perhaps the market could have a new swing low. But right now, the dollar should continue higher. It probably will, kind of take a break around the 11th and then pull back and be, but then only to really rock it up later in the end of the month. So, so again, kind of just looking at this forecast before I go to your guys' questions. I see us turning down. It may be a week turn down coming off this low into the 11th of September time. We bounce, and then I think at the end of September you get this wipeout, potential. So I look for something like this. I don't think you're going to get a strong W wave down early in the month. I think you will get a move down. I think the big move down comes toward the end of the month. And if you remember the analog for the dot-com era, Apple back in the 2000 time frame, Apple's earnings warning came out at the end of September and started the next leg lower of the bear market of the tech. It ended the connector wave of the tech bubble bear market, and I have this here, as you can see right here. Apple collapsed on that day with bad earning news, September 2000. Doesn't this look pretty familiar, although we're a little bit higher? And then we come right down, and then all hell breaks loose. So we're set up for the same thing. So I think toward the end of September, maybe you'll start seeing some earnings warnings come out from the big companies, and like messages and information will start being leaked to show that we already are probably in a recession right now that nobody really understands. And I think it started in China and has come over to the United States, and people don't understand it yet because it's not in our data just yet. So just be ready for that. So that's anyway. So I wish I had better news for the bulls in the market, but it's I think we got some dark storm clouds on the horizon, and then we'll see what happens after that. All right, so let's take a look and go through some of your questions. Boil. So if oil is pumping, natural gas almost always moves with oil with like a 1-week lag. So that's what I've noticed. So I don't even have to look at the chart to tell you if oil just did what it did. Natural gas is going higher, and so will oil. But there's a little bit of a lag in that. It's a lag. So, to me, some kind of 3-wave move. Now see how you made a higher high here? That's very bullish. So to me, that looks like a 1-2-1-2 setup, just like oil was. And I believe at some point it's just going to like rocket out of here. So that's I mean, look at this bottoming pattern, guys. I mean, this has always been our target. I believe with oil going higher, it would be very, very unlikely for natural gas to drop down. It's just not It's just very unlikely. This was a great opportunity to go long on Friday. I think, given what you saw oil do, and then looking at what this natural gas trade here, hitting the buy area right now. So this was a really good opportunity. My guess is even on Tuesday, this thing's going to be up here, and it'll be too late for buyers. And then you'll have to chase it. But it won't. It would be highly unusual. And if it were to drop again, just understand that that oil will drive this higher. It's just going to drive. It's going to drive it higher, especially if oil's going to like in the 90s or even $100 a barrel. So that's kind of the setup. I mean, look, 1 2 1 2. I mean, it's ready for a push higher. And natural gas going back like this is going to be very bearish for the market, guys. SPXS should be making its turn higher, right? It should have turned on Friday. It's in our buy area, right? It's just went a little deeper in this area, so it's still a buy. It's just gonna have to be you're gonna have to be patient and let it play out. But I believe it's probably already over. Let's take a look. So the 4-hour looks like it wants to break higher to end the correction. So confirmation will be the 4-hour breaking this downtrend line. The stochastics are open, the daily as well. So you're in a new daily cycle. So I believe you're going to see, prices. Let's take a look here. We're looking at the end of September as your new daily peak, which makes sense with my forecast. So I believe the time to buy this was yet last week, and we should get a pretty good turn higher into this area, and that's the trade. That's the trade. As long as this low holds at $12, which it should, in this WXY corrective pattern. It may backtest this 1738. See this? Be a lot of resistance here. If it can overcome that resistance and come out, that will start you set up for your crash scenario in the market. But I think, given the way this wave looks, corrective, I don't think it's going to happen. I think you'll just get this pullback. So, but you can, there is always a possibility of that. So, but especially when you're in these kind of conditions. So anyway, that's SPXS, and then Tesla's turned lower. It's already peaked. And again, if you've been following me, I gave everyone Tesla's trade. We've been in this pretty nicely. We said here, buy here and sell here, right? Buy here. That turned out to work out nice. And then here was our sell area, and we took a massive dump. I believe the next area to buy will be at 175 as this correction plays out in September. But it won't be a straight line down. I would say as long as you're below 261, you want to short all the pops. Any kind of pop is a short opportunity all the way down. So I do think, though, this looks like not even wave one looks like maybe it looks like to me a flat in wave one here. So like you had this one. So it looks like an A, B, and C could come up to 248 and then drop Of course, it could be the most bearish case, a 1-2-1-2, which I don't think it is. So it's probably something like that. And then once this, then you should get a bigger bounce. And like I said, ultimately, this is the area that it should find support. And Tesla also shows why the market may not have this massive crash where we'll get this pullback to SPY 410 and then make a new high, because we do have 5 waves up, so you should get another push higher. And then if the market wants to crash, it has the setup for that. So just keep that in mind. If this were to crash from here and break 100, then this graph would have to be some kind of flat, which is not. This is too big. This is too impulsive. It just would be really unusual. It wouldn't be a really clean Elliott wave pattern to have that happen. But if you believe in the market crash theory, then you are going to believe 100 will break. So you'll have to kind of, you know, this doesn't really support it to me, because you can't really get 3 waves down here to call this 5 waves up. And you really can't call this 3 waves up, as you broke the high here. So Tesla is telling me that there should be another pump in the market before any super crash scenario. So then what that also tells me is we get this drop. This is Tesla at 160 or whatever. And then the market makes another high. Tesla's at 350. And then the market actually could have the crash of all time. That will, that worse than whenever you ever, 1929 or whatever. But I don't think Tesla supports that kind of scenario yet. But I can be wrong. So do what's best for you, especially this late stage in the grand super cycle, and given the conditions, maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe this count is not right. And if it's not right, then if you believe in a market crash, then Tesla should be coming down to $60. So we don't know, but I do think looking at everything, this is where we should bounce in this area. All right. Yeah, PDD made that pump. So I showed that option. That was a more bullish move that I had talked about that it could make. And if you are a bull, you should be really happy. Now, what's interesting is you see how you took out the RSIs. Let's go to the daily cycle. And you did the same thing, but you see how the price didn't make a new high yet? That concerns me a little bit. So I would, you really want to see 106.19 taken out. If you don't, then what you have is a triple in wave 2, and you're still in wave 2. And I know people won't want to believe it, but then you're just in this pattern, a corrective pattern. But if you could take that high out, then of course it changes everything. But it hasn't, which is interesting. So until that high's taken out, once the high's taken out, then you can convert it to a 1-2-1-2, the most bullish scenario, and then it should just continue to go vertical. But it's got to break out, and it's used a lot of energy, and it didn't break out. So I would still not really like to trade it here. I wouldn't want to short it. I wouldn't want to go long it. I would just be on the sidelines. And also, we know China still has a move lower that has to happen. So I don't know. I think, to me, if it would have been nice to see that up here, given where the RSI is, but it isn't. So unless you believe the RSI is going to go even higher and get another push, then more than likely this rally is going to fail and trap a lot of buyers in a panic as we drop unexpectedly. And this wave 2 comes back down to 59 in a very, like sideways move. BABA, I believe, has started to turn lower in this X wave, and it needs to go down more. It looks like we need another sequence lower. I'm looking for a retest of $58. So to me, that looks like another within here. You have a W and an X, and we still need a Y, something like that. And again, if you're in China, the reason I think that is because this indice hit a short area, it got rejected, and it should be coming down. The Hang Seng should be dropping to this area, and I don't think it's smart to think that your Chinese stock's going to rise while this happens in the indices in China. So I do think when this plays out here, China's in a 1-2. When this final leg lower comes, then a market, all those stocks you own in should go down. And actually, it's already started to make its turn down, as you can see here, like the rest of the market. Negate this scenario, you have to take this peak back out that I have. That would negate it. That would change the forecast completely for the Chinese market and the dollar for that matter. So, okay, let's go to LEU. So it looks like we played this out in a 3, a 4, and a 5 here. And then here's your 3, there's your 4. There's your 5 there, there's your 3, there's your 4, and you're almost done your 5. As long as you maintain that bearish divergence, it's a good count. So this, let's see here. So this is, yeah, let's zoom back out. We'll still say we're in wave 5. So if the bearish divergence holds, then this wave 5 can end at any moment, and you should retrace back down to $39 before another massive move higher. If you can erase the divergence, then it becomes a 1-2, 1-2, and then it's just going to go completely vertical. So it's like a coin flip. I don't know. If looking at what energy is doing, I would probably lean towards the bullish scenario. Something like that. So it looks like it's in the 3 of 3 wave right now. I call it the easy money wave. And perhaps that 3 ended right there. But anyway, we were predicting this, guys. I mean, if you've been following me, this has played out just like we thought it would. It's starting the moon, and it can even go even higher as we take out this peak here at 55, if it can do that. So looks good. Again, energy is starting to turn back up, and with oil going higher, and with that move on Friday, you have to change the energy forecast to be more bullish now. Let's see, AMR. Again, we put the 2 here. It looks like that was the right call. We're in wave 3. And essentially, it's going vertical. And again, if you followed me, we predicted this, and there's really no reason to sell it at this point. It's still erasing divergence. So it's still going vertical. So as you can see, there's so many 4s and 5s. This is one where you just buy it and let it sit back and relax. There's no reason to trade this. This was an investment opportunity. And guys, we've been following this forever, and it broke out. Look, it just was a massive breakout. I mean, of a massive consolidation. So There's no reason to trade it. So what's the next target on this thing now that it's gone? It's broke out on a bullish impulse there. So we'll be looking for like really, I'm looking for 368, almost as high as $400 on this thing in this area, around there. Towards the top of the area for wave 3, so somewhere around the $400 area before it ends. It's bull run, so it should just continue in the next year or two to get up to these areas. And for some reason, if people are stupid enough to sell it and it comes down, there'll be a massive opportunity to go long, because you had to break out. You had to break out. So if it were to do that for some reason, TMDX. It looks like we predicted that crash and the bounce, and we're in B. So this should bounce more, and then it's going to fail, unfortunately, because this is 5 waves down from the peak. So yeah, if I zoom in, you see how we took that high out here. So this is this should still make one more push higher. And then it sets up an opportunity for a short at 74.51, 76.63, this area. For the next wave lower. So that's a setup, something like that. Shopify, yeah, there was some news about Amazon, and everyone decided to buy Shopify. But unfortunately, I do think it's got a push lower coming. Let me find it. So this B wave should end at any moment. We should be coming down to 47.31. And that would fill this gap exactly that never got filled. To me, this is 5 waves down, so it's going to need another 5 waves down. So that's the plan on Shopify. Now, if it were to take this peak out at 71, then this is some kind of flat and an A, B, C, and the count will be different. So could that happen? Yes. And actually, if that were to happen, this would be the first stock I track that actually broke out from the July highs and the cycle ended to show the market could extend higher. Nothing else has done that, not even Nvidia, nothing. So the odds of that happening are almost slim to none, because that's what you want to see. If you believe that there's going to be no drop and you're the Tom Lee and it's going to be like the most bullish September we've ever seen in our life, well, then we need the July highs being taken out, or these late, August 1 highs taken out by these individual stocks. Like right now, we need Apple, we need but none of them are doing that. We need Tesla. They're all below their highs. So until we see sequences taking out highs, we can't get bullish for September. There's no reason to be thinking of buying the dip, unless you're just day trader, Okay, Anonymous, thanks again. Yeah, so sad news in the crypto, guys, with what's happening in Bitcoin. All those crypto, everything crypto related has got another swing lower. And we saw those clues play out with the miners. First, we saw with Mara, we never really got to the area that I wanted to at 7, and we talked about it failing, making another swing down. We had Riot here. Never got to this area, again, showing it should go down. And we even had stocks like Coinbase that didn't even have an impulse up from the low, showing a catastrophe potentially for the company, only showing 3 swings. And then GBTC not even really having a clear structure with 5 swings, not missing the 5th swing never happened. So given that setup, you can't ignore the bearish potential on the longer term cycles, because this is really just corrective. There's no impulsive nature coming out of this pattern unless we were to take this high out. So given that, you have to go back to these other ones like LTCN and look at it a little differently. So again, LTCN to me, when I look at it, it looks like I can get 5 swings out of this. Just again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how it looks like to me. This can't be a W and X because you don't really have 3 swings here. So given that, what I think is this is a connector that's going to fail. And so I do think it's going to retest the low here, and I would believe that low is going to hold. So that's just my hypothesis. I believe that LTCN is going to come back down and retest this low, and it's going to hold it. Okay? And then this is just a connector for this impulse down. So another target potentially is 298 as well. But the problem, this will have to take out that peak. So it's going to have a violent drop in a quick manner. If for some reason it takes this out, then this is just a massive connector wave in a 3-wave move, where this was A, B, C, and then to me that would be Bitcoin going under $10,000. To me, that's what that would mean. That would bring you to LTCN at 93 cents, which is basically Litecoin's $10. Litecoin's trading at $10, essentially. Maybe a little bit more than that. So the only way Litecoin's getting down there is if Bitcoin drops below 10,000. So if Bitcoin goes to 21,000. This is kind of where I'm thinking we're going on LTCN that I have highlighted here. If Bitcoin breaks the low, again, some people on the internet are calling that. They're calling a catastrophe in the market coming, right? I think stocks like Tesla say that may not happen, but if you do get the catastrophe, this is the next area to buy it at 10,008, even as low as probably around this trend line. Maybe you wick down to 9,000, even 8,000 at the minimum. So, yeah, I don't know. I think right now with Bitcoin, I would just say that you want to be careful. But if you look at Bitcoin, it looks like it's got 5 swings off the low here, right? What that tells me, and again, between the 4 and the 2, right around here. So to me, it tells me Bitcoin needs another swing higher, just like Tesla, right? So then you get this A, you get this B, you get this C, and then now if Bitcoin wants to go to 8,000 or lower, it can do that from here. It could do that from here. From here, it'll be, I don't think it's going to be very difficult. So I do think this is the setup for crypto and Bitcoin, something like that. And yeah, if it does break this low, then it's got to be some kind of flat correction, which would be super bearish. Yeah, 12,000, this area. So that's going to bring all the crypto. So, but anyway, in the shorter time frames, crypto's lower. Crypto should be going lower. When it's here, then we'll see what happens. Mara price target for wave 5. Well, Mara's already, I think, done its corrective bounce. So I believe it's already over. It's already started to turn lower. So we bought here, there's your bounce. You probably put it there in an A, B, C, and now it's turning lower. So now the question is, where do you want to buy it at? Because it's a flat correction, it's going to be it's going to be tricky to find the exact area. But it could, as you could see, like LTCN, it could come back and retest this low. So it's going to have a really deep correction and retest the low. Unfortunately, I know it's not what people want to hear, but it's just what's going to happen. And the only way to negate that is if X can extend higher and you get another pump. To get another pump, you need to break this high, but there's really no reason to think that that's going to happen. Because, I mean, this looks like an impulse down on a 3, so it looks like you're in some kind of third wave. This is like a fourth wave. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so this move should retrace, or it's going to come down in 3, which it can do. But let's look at the 4-hour again. So the 4-hour, it's a wide open to the downside. It looks like it's going to break that to confirm. So once you break that, you'll confirm you're in Y. The daily cycle is ready to cross and reset down. Now reset down, that will take out, that's going to take this out again. And the weekly cycle will finish. So that's why it probably won't go much lower. So maybe it truncates here at 6. That's why I have the target here using my system, but also I want to bring up that based on my experience as a trader, it can find the bottom early at 7. So you're just going to have to decide for yourself when you want to buy it. Because it could easily hit 7 and then be done. So if Bitcoin is finished in 21, then, and this isn't down here, then this is done. So this is going to finish, and actually the miners finished first before Bitcoin did. Also, these turned first. When we were trading them down here, we called the bottom in all the miners. Right, if you followed me, we actually had the exact bottom on every one of these stocks, like HUT. You know, we called that low here. You know, all this shit, all this bit F and all this crap. We called the low here and here and here. So my guess is, again, just as experience as a trader, it's probably going to stop, bounce here. And it won't make it all the way down that I have shown. But do what's best for you on that. But I do believe the turn, it's already turned. And it's done. Okay, let's keep going. TZA, yeah, TZA should be ready to turn at any moment up. The Russell pumped. It's interesting. They're trying to, you know, trap as many people as they can. So what happened here is, so we thought it was 3 waves. It wasn't. So it was a different pattern. So now we have 5 waves down. And so it turned out to be a flat pattern. So what do you want to see? You want to see bullish divergence. And then you know it's, so as you can see, you've got bullish divergence here. So this is ready to roll higher. So it's just it just was a tricky pattern. In the Dow also was the same way. You know, something like that. And this downtrend should break and come up. So this should end at any moment. So, but we don't have confirmation yet that it's done. We need more upside. It's right on the kind of on the trend line. You could draw this wedge in a lot of different ways. So just once you can break out of this, then I think then you could know this pattern's complete. SQQ, we had this sell area. It's a trade that I'm in. And as you can see, you have 3 waves up, 3 waves down. You have this gap here. Maybe it filled. We just don't have all the price data. Who knows? But it does look like it's coming out. And this looks like 5 waves down to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really, you need this downtrend line to break first. The RSI is about to. Again, the 4-hour needs to turn up, but it hasn't. So, you don't have that confirmation. I do think stocks like Tesla tell me that we have turned down, which means these have turned. This is a nice little pop from the bottom here. So if we can get some more follow through, so we need some more price separation to feel really good about the bottom, but this is kind of what I'm thinking. And since this is 3, should be 3, and this is corrective, which means once this finishes, we should come back and break this low at 16. CELR and ROSE tokens. Okay, let's see. See if I have any of those charted already. Doesn't look like it. I'm not sure what do I have that right? CELR. Yeah, I don't know if that's what you mean, the CELR to dollar. I'll just leave it there. And ROSE. You see this like double top pattern? Yeah, so you want to see this hold right here, that low. So it could be bullish as long as it's above that low. It's going to be close because this is a 1, 2, then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then some kind of 5. So it looks like you need a little bit more downside, but it has to stay above that line. So I think to me it's got some more downside. What would be a way to confirm that this move is over? Would be a break of the downtrend line. So this is the daily. When that breaks up, then the next cycle higher has begun. But I think it's got to break this low here at a penny, and then if it can do that, then it should have a new sequence higher from there. And then Rose, it's funny, most of these just look the same to me, where you have 5 waves down from the top that ends, and you're either in some kind of connector that could still come back up and take out 8, 7 to go lower, or it's just going to be a go to zero and take out this 3 sets. So for me, it's got to hold above this 2.9 level, and it looks not likely to do so given what I'm seeing. But technically, as long as even that low needs to hold here at 3.3. But again, you're cutting it really close. If 3.3 breaks, chances are you're going to break the all-time low, and if that breaks, then essentially it's going to be a go to zero coin, and of course no one wants to be in one of those. So very dangerous coin to be long in right now, because this just looks like 5 waves down that ended right there, and then here's a connector that we're either in a connector of some kind. So so it's like that, or B can come up. B could be done here. So I don't know. I wouldn't want to trade it, but I would just, like, if I look at it, it just seems like to me it's going to head lower. This is probably coming all the way to the oversold area. So yeah, I probably wouldn't touch it. But anyway, that's how I look at those 2 coins. Neo, yeah, how's Neo doing? I haven't looked at that in a while. Again, if China's taking another leg lower, Neo should do the same. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, it's like a day trader battle happening here. All right, so clearly you're still in this kind of X wave. One more high. One more high. Yeah, so to me, like to see that. Something like that. Let's see if there's another way to get the target. So I think that's what's happening there, and then you get the next leg down. So maybe get a little pop. You don't have to, because I can label this in so many different ways, but this is what I think's happening here. But do what's best for you. Carvana. So Carvana is another one that we've got right pretty consistently if you've been following me. So we've called this, we called the bottom here, guys. Remember, and it just truncated just a little bit, but we had that. We were on the lookout, and then we had these bounces. And now I talked about this 4 being done, and again it truncated just a little bit, and now we're in this 5th wave. So it's do or die time for Carvana. So you have 3 waves. What does that mean? It means this can easily continue lower, and break this low and go bankrupt. But if we can pull up and make this fifth wave and just make one more high above 57.49, $60, if we can do that, then you've got a massive low here, generational low, and this should pull back one more time somewhere around the $28, $27 area, and then this massive reversal pattern will play out and we'll be in the hundreds of dollars again in the future. So I still think this is the forecast. I do think we'll make we should break this high, and then with bearish divergence, and then pull back and lose this entire gain very quickly, and then come somewhere in this area, this $30, $29 area. Okay. EVLV. Let's see. EVLV. So looks like it's in some kind of wave 5, like most of the stock market is in. All right, so it's bullish, nice impulse, and it looks just like the rest of the market. It needs one more swing down, and that can end at any moment. So we'd be looking for this area. If it were to end now, I don't know if it's done. It doesn't show any confirmation that it's finished going down yet. But yeah, it should make one more push lower. So I wouldn't buy it yet until it's in this area. All right. Oh, thanks, Chris. Did you do Bohr? No, I did not. So yeah, so with oil moving higher, we'll have to kind of factor that into our energy forecast, and maybe not be as so bearish in the shorter time frames. So let's take a look at what Bohr is up to. Weekly cycle's intact. This cycle's intact. Yeah, Bohr. So Bohr's a real interesting chart. So this cycle hasn't ended yet. This cycle, it wants to end, which I assumed it would, and you have the divergence here, but it hasn't ended yet. Right now, let's take a look at what we have going on here. All right, so more than likely this 4 should be done, and we should get this fifth wave here, something like this. somewhere to like 951, to that area. Okay, and then this should pull back again down to this area, and that should end this 3. So yeah, it's really tough chart to try to trade, but we'll go with this for now, something like that. We'll see if that plays out. I don't know. This is really tough now. I do think with energy and oil going higher, we should expect a turn up. We should expect this turn happening right now to these areas that I have highlighted. All right, so I've got a few more minutes. I'll just scan through things that I've got charts on already. NVIDIA, I have a chart already on that. So NVIDIA mentioned this short area, and it looks like that, yeah, it's struggling here. I want to see it turn down to come back to 406 and kind of finish this head and shoulders pattern, and then break down and fill these gaps and come back to 320. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But I believe there was a short opportunities last week in this, and it should be turning lower. mRNA, I have that one. Again, we talked about the pressure of wave 4 in this resistance. It just can't get over it. I'm still looking for this dump with the rest of the market to push it down. So I do believe we're still here in this pattern. What would change my mind to be back above this resistance area, to flip it? Then that will change everything. But it's struggling, it's trying to, just can't do it. I was looking at BBAI the other day. You know, that was kind of left for dead and never really bounced the way we wanted it to. And when I was looking at it, let's see here if I can find it. There it is. So we mentioned trying to come back and retest that low, but we had this downtrend line that it broke out of. So the correction's over. You see that? So the correction's over. The problem is now you have a connector. So now this low has to hold. So here's your pivot now is 128. So you really need that to hold. That looks like an impulse up. So it looks like some kind of 1-2 hopefully, and you can get out. Or worst case, it's an ABC corrective pattern, something like that. Then CrowdStrike was one we were looking at, I know, earlier. So we're looking for this X wave to fail and come back to 134. And I believe we probably have already just made that turn here. This would be a good buy, good investment opportunity if it comes down here. Yeah. So something like that, and you could probably put that even here. It doesn't really matter. All right, so that's all I've got today. I'm gonna wrap it up, guys. What I want to mention is I think September is going to be pretty difficult for the market, especially toward the end of the month. I'm thinking just kind of looking at where the dollar index is and stuff, but I think September will be tough. And then we should get when we get into this area, then the market should be ready to bounce. And I think the bounce could be to new highs, and that will surprise a lot of people. And then once we get to these highs, new highs, then I think the super crash that everyone dreams about could easily happen at any moment at that point, technically. Stocks that are five up off the lows need another swing higher. That's why it doesn't favor a super crash. But of course, I could be wrong, and I have been before. And so if that's the case, we should blow through this 409 level. And if we do that, then I believe, yes, all hell will break loose in the market like we've never seen before. And just use your imagination how far down and how quick we go. But I do think technically the market should hold right where I have it. We should get this push lower, and we should have a nice bounce out of here going into the election, maybe post-election, or maybe there is a emerging constitutional crisis coming, right? Is that's what this is saying? That causes the crash of all ages, that people happen. So that's kind of the setup I'm seeing. I'm not really seeing that massive calamity, but yet the conditions are there for that, given where the market is. It's just technically it's hard to see such a super crash develop, but I do think this will push down, and if the technicals play into it more, then perhaps you could get a bigger drop, and then stocks like Tesla are going to go to $60. Apple will go under 100. Microsoft under 200, Nvidia back to under 200. That's what you'll see in a super crash scenario. But I don't know what would it take to get there, and it would be really unexpected. But I do think once you make this push higher, then I do believe the market conditions will be so dangerous. I don't know if I want to be long anything anymore. But right now, this is good trading. So expect the downside. Then I think we'll bounce. But that's how I look at the market, guys. All right, that's all.